everyone. We have Randy on calling in today onto the show. Thank you very much, Randy. Randy's a wheeler. He's a very strong advocate for people with disabilities, and I'm going to pass over the mic over to you, Randy. Thank you for joining Canadians with Disabilities and their allies today. Thank you.
Hey, Twitter Space and Canadian Disabilities with their allies. I would like to be one of your allies as well. The fight's on. We're trying to get in, trying to be included in this society.
Absolutely. And it's so important to have fellow allies who are basically standing with each other and, continuing the fight going forward. And it's not just the fight, but bringing recognition of all the inequalities in life, for sure, of people with lived experience with disabilities, and a lot of change that needs to happen going forward.
Plenty of people would listen to us, the experienced ones with the disabilities, living in the situation. Maybe we can get some things resolved.
So, Randy, can you tell me about your story of how did things become to be in your life with your disability?
Well, I was a millwright mechanic for all of my life, working in factories, fixing machines, installing machines, repairing, and whatever I had to do. And 1999 actually, I got a situation where my eyes stopped working and synced with each other. So I looked one way, they both went that way. If I looked to the other side, the one went halfway and stopped. It was like, what? So yeah, I went to see the doctor, and he said, there's something wrong with your head. And I said, there's something wrong with your head. No, you got to go see a neurologist. I went to see the neurologist. Yeah, you got MS. So the MS got me. I got back up after this first year. I guess it was about 3 months I was off, and I went back to work. And I lasted till 2006, and it came back with a vengeance and hit me hard. So I hit it back with chemotherapy. My neurologist put me in the hospital for 10 days and bombarded me with chemotherapy every other day. Booted me out for 10 days, and I went back once a month for booster infusions. Then problems occurred after about a year. I had to stop the treatment. But I haven't had another attack since, so thank God. But yeah, put me in a wheelchair.
Wow, that's definitely, it really opens the eyes to a lot of people of what people go through, right? I mean, it sounds like you've gone through a lot, but that's, it's part of your life, right? It's what you endure on a day-to-day basis, and it's awareness of your lived experiences, for sure. And people have to realize that not just one size fits all for disability, right? Everybody has different experiences of what they're going through. And
absolutely, what the shock was, again, to see how little is being done in Ontario. I mean, we're supposed to be the leaders here. We've got this Accessibility Act we put forward. It's supposed to be ready by 2025. But it's not going to reach that deadline. It's been let go by all three parties, major parties in Ontario, for pushing the issue, and they're not. And 2025 is coming hard and fast. So I don't know what they're planning to do, but there's going to be a failure here.
Yeah, especially with that proposed Canada Disability Act, whatever. They want to study that thing and just beat it down like a horse, right?
Well, at least they're doing it,
Yeah.
But, back in 2014, David Lepofsky and myself got on Twitter, and we went on a campaign nonstop. We went after every politician across the country, hammered the hell out of them, with pushing them to get an act. And conservatives should clammed up like they always do. Didn't say anything to anybody. They weren't talking to nobody. I sent a video to Thomas Mulcair. It was an old Who video. Tommy, can you hear me? And all of a sudden, within a few minutes, they suddenly changed and said, yes, they're going to support it. And when they did, then the Liberals broke. And thank God we got a Liberal government, not a Conservative government. We got an act. All of Canada, it's not just one part of Canada, but the whole country. Now, that was the whole idea behind that act. Not just for some parts of Canada, like Ontario and maybe New Brunswick or somewhere else. No, it's for the whole country. If I have issues here in Ontario, you got the same issues in BC.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all inclusive, right? I mean, all the provinces are all intertwined with exactly what goes on with the federal government on their decision making on policies. And yeah, like, we're not alone on that, for sure. And it definitely has an impact especially on transfer payments that come across from the federal government to the provincial governments. Like, a lot of them are like 22%, and when health diminishes down, when they don't have the proper health care, well, then it's a whole ripple effect. It's a domino effect, really, throughout the whole system.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, we needed to get some standards. I mean, we're still lacking a lot of standards. Building code for most places is all outdated. I mean, none of it's because for accessibility. And ramps are one of my biggest bitches. Like throughout my whole life, I've been watching them build them, and then all of a sudden I needed them, and they're not really all the same. They're not all the same grade. And where's the code? Where's the standard? Coming from the world of industrial mechanic world, I mean, we used to have an ISO standard for everything. There's an international standard for this, right? Everything I did was international standards. And to walk into the world where there is no standards and there is no sort of safety committee or anything to stop this shit from happening. I mean, what's happening here? Somebody needs to do something about that. And well, I decided I'm not somebody, so I started the fight.
Yeah, and because I love businesses and residential, apartment buildings or any business whatsoever, they need to have that basic standard in place. And a lot of places that are being built, either they want to kind of cut corners to save costs, so they don't have to put an accessibility button on the door, so that the door will open automatically. I mean, how do you open it when it's not there? You put a ramp up, but well, it's just mind-boggling when I see places built that way. I came across a couple places. There was a condominium that was built and they put the ramp up in. Beautiful place, right? But there's no button there to press to open the door. I thought, well, how's that going to work for people in have mobility? They're in, like, say, a stroller, or they're in a mobility scooter, or they're in a wheelchair, or whichever.
Or an elderly
person. Yeah, exactly. And I thought, well, how do you open the door? And I thought, wow. And then I find out, oh, well, it costs too much, and they wanted to cut their cost. And I was talking to a developer, and I said, okay, so how much would it cost to put that in? Oh, $1,000. I said, are you kidding me? They want to save $1,000 to inconvenience people, and and I'm a strong advocate when it comes to that too. Like, you got to make things accessible to people, because if you don't, then that's just telling society that it's okay. Like, that's ableist, right?
Absolutely. And that's what's happening now with our acts in Ontario, because none of the parties are taking this issue seriously, and nobody's made a stand and say they're going to deliver this over the end zone, into the end zone by 2025. What are your plans? You got any plans for this or not? And it looks like not.
Yeah, because a lot of the ones who make these policies, they say, oh, well, it doesn't affect my life, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it does matter, actually, because majority of society, they need some kind of accessibility in place, I guess, and in so many ways, and there has to be a base standard. I mean, you nailed it there, Randy. I mean, there has to be a base standard, because when there's not a base standard, then there's a huge problem with how things go forward, because anyone at any time in life can become disabled, and it is proven. As population ages, there will be a disability, or in your case, like you became disabled, right? And no fault of your own. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it can happen to anybody. And as we said during the campaign in 14, that you're going to end up, if you live long enough, you're going to end up disabled. You're going to end up in our world. You're going to be pushing a walker. You're going to be in a wheelchair. You're going to be using a cane. You're going to end up in this world.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't die first, that's the other alternative, right? You die first, you become old, you get gimped up, blamed up, and you have to use these accessories.
Yeah, and it's just it's about awareness that needs to happen, because if policies keep going the way they're going, nothing will ever change, and they have to be modernized, these policies, because it is a ripple effect throughout society. Even like restaurants too. Some of them are pretty nasty. They got stairs. Well, someone will say, well, why don't I just help you pick it up, and then we'll kind of get you in the door. Well, no, just make it accessible. Make the proper ramp so I can get in the door myself.
Absolutely. I wanted to go see Johnny Winter back in 2008 in London, Ontario, and I found out the hall he was in was on the top floor and no elevator service.
Oh, jeez.
Well, how do I get into there? It's a historical building. We don't have to do it.
Wow.
That's the excuse you get.
Yeah, that's not right at all. I mean, yeah, I know there's always excuses for sure, right? There's always reasons why the businesses don't want to accommodate that. Well, then they need to do some retrofits in order to make it accommodating for people. If you don't, then the business is going to suffer. People are going to suffer. And why? There's no need for it.
So with the economy, because we're not spending our money, and people with disabilities have some money.
Exactly. You give them the money, they're going to put the money back into the economy, into the community that they live in.
Absolutely. If I can't get in, then I'm going to go to somebody else, or I'm going to order online.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, you give from one hand, or you take it all and keep it, you have it. I mean, I'm not going to chase you down to fix your business. Not in this day and age. I'm beyond that now. Since 2006, I've been rolling. So no, fight's over now. It's like, you know what? You don't want to fix your business. Okay, I'm not coming in.
Yeah. So you got Evil Flightless Birdie. I'm going to take some questions here. If you'd like to make some comments too, Randy, we'll go with Evil Flightless Birdie first.
Oh, thank you very much, Randy. The question that was just in my mind over the last few minutes is: have you heard David Onley speak about the challenges that he himself has faced when accessing public buildings?
David and I are very close. We do interact all the time on Twitter and on phone. So yes, we're very much aware of his interactions. But you can't be doing it on his own either. Everybody needs to get on this bike. You know, everybody's sitting back waiting for him to do it. He can't do everything. So everybody's got to get behind him and start doing the same thing. That's what I recommend for everybody to get involved. Get your way in. Get your way in. We're all entitled to go in. Why aren't we allowed in?
Exactly. It's not on David Onley to make the world change, I was wondering for Brent's sake, because Brent is, in BC and not Ontario, because he hasn't heard David Onley speak. I remember that he had mentioned that there had been members of Parliament, was it federally, that ran into similar issues?
Accessibility.
Accessibility, yeah.
Well, yeah, this is why the push was on in 2014 with David and I. We were on Twitter beating up every politician to get a commitment to put an act in for Canada, because, like I say, every part of the country's got this problem. Why are we just doing certain parts? Mm-hmm. So let's get something federal. Let's make a standard across the country so everybody's got the same playing field.
Yeah, and it's all in this together, right? And that's exactly it. Because if nothing changes, it just keeps on going the same status quo, right? And we can't keep the status quo because that status quo is not working, and it never was working. It was policymakers who made things that way because it didn't affect their lives, and we'll just go with the flow, and hey, heck with society. Well, no, that can't be that way. Definitely nailed it there, Randy.
When the act came in 2005, they get a 20-year window to complete. That's a big window. I would have shortened it myself. It would have been like a 5 or 10-year window. That's what I would have pushed for if I'd been David at the time, but he pushed as hard as he could. He couldn't get any further. So the politicians don't want to bend. They don't want to see it. But you know what? Sooner or later, they're going to end up here too.
Could you maybe kind of elaborate on that? Maybe let people understand of what the terminology wheeler is, and like some people will say wheeler or wheelchair user. I don't like the word wheelchair user. I really don't. I agree with you on that.
That's one of them. The other one's wheelchair bound. That's the one I really hate.
Yeah.
And one time I'm bound is when I'm on a mobility bus going somewhere and they strap my chair down. But other than that, I'm never bound. So yeah, it just bothers me that people are struggling to figure out what name to call somebody in a wheelchair. As a wheelchair user, I thought, you know what, I'm going to short it up and call myself a wheeler. Okay, I'm on wheels, rolling around, and hey, I might as well be a kid again because I got 4 wheels under me and I got road. Let's go. You know what? Gonna have some fun.
I love it. I love that terminology. The wheeler has that first thing I thought. Randy the Wheeler. Yeah, because it's the positive attitude too, and it gives it that power, the name right behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'm not a wheel bound. I'm a wheeler. Watch your toes. I might crush.
Yeah, there's a lot of toes that need to be crushed along the way.
I was going to say my casters would love to meet a few of their toes.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, yeah.